The latest on the Tennessee Titans, including draft news and rumors, is coming up. But first, the story that sent social media ablaze last night. Will Smith at the Oscars, much to the delight of producer Jack. We're talking about the Oscars here at Chat Sports, but it was pretty crazy. He slaps comedian Chris Rock across the face. So whose side are you on? Will Smith, type WS, or CR, type in Chris Rock. Have some fun for me in the comments section. You're watching Tennessee Titans Today. I am your host, Tom Downey. We're breaking down what's going on around the Titans, and we're going to begin with the future of star wide receiver A.J. Brown. GM John Robinson, as he and the Titans are at NFL league meetings. Well, Robinson has commented on the future of the premier wide receiver. As the wide receiver market changes drastically, Robinson said he's got every intention of keeping Brown a Titan. I will make note that very similar wording to what the Seahawks said about Russell Wilson. But A.J. Brown is the clear wide receiver one. He's still on his first contract, and outside of probably Derrick Henry, maybe the best player on this team. Apologies, maybe a Jeffrey Simmons. That's how talented Brown is. Here's what Robinson had to say. Right now, we're just trying to get through this free agency period, seeing where we've landed cap-wise. AJ is an important part of what we do. He's a great teammate. He works hard. He's about what we're about. AJ is a Titan, and we want to keep AJ a Titan. And that's part of our goal this offseason, whenever that manifests itself, to come to an agreement to keep him around. Now, timing-wise, you have time to get a deal done with AJ Brown. However, the longer you wait for a contract, the more expensive it will become. And AJ Brown, at his age, his production, is going to be expensive. Titans got to keep him. There's not enough receiver help right now on this roster. Now, you could save a bunch of money. I get all of that. You should not be letting your premier young wide receiver walk. Maybe you can get lucky and try and get him to take a little bit more than a DJ Moore contract. But the wide receiver market, every year there's one position group that gets up drastically reset. This year, that was wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins was kind of an outlier deal. People weren't blowing by it. Then Devontae Adams gets 28. Tyreek Hill gets 30 as parts of trades. The massive cost. And it wouldn't be a shock if A.J. Brown says, you know what, I want to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Somebody would pay him that. If not Tennessee, the Jets certainly would, given how much they really, really wanted Tyreek Hill. Brown is this team's number one wide receiver. If they want to win football games right now, if your GM and head coach want to help make sure they keep their jobs, which is, of course, what drives so many football decisions, you should keep A.J. Brown on this team. So if you want Brown to get a new deal done, whatever it looks like, and you want to keep him on the Titans, type me right now in the comment section. Head down there. I want to see hundreds of me's in the comments section. NFL draft talk now for the Tennessee Titans. Could Desmond Ridder be a pick here for the Titans? Albert Breer suggested that the Titans might just be interested in adding Ridder. Now, he did not specify if it's round 1 or round 2, but with no second-round pick, I kind of think he means it's round 1. And Breer also that Fickell's relationship with Mike Vrabel, those two are very close together, could be a driving force in terms of the trust when the head coach says, hey, this is your guy, this is your guy. If you trust that head coach, you're going to listen to him pretty closely. Question mark is, does Tennessee need to take a QB in round 1? Here's what Breer wrote. Is there one QB General Manager John Robinson might be interested in? If it's worth keeping an eye on Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder. I've heard that Bearcats head coach Luke Fickell and his staff have really talked Ridder up privately to NFL teams. And Fickell's best friend happens to be Mike Vrabel, the Titans head coach from their time together with Ohio State. Now, for me, Ridder is my QB3. He's got a second-round grade. I don't really think anybody is worthy of truly going in round 1. All these guys would have been like QB 6 or 7 at best last year's class. And in a normal class, maybe they're like QB 3. But teams are desperate for QBs. That will drive them up boards. Ridder last year for Cincinnati, who is a good athlete, by the way, played really well. I've seen some Marcus Mariota comps to him, which might trigger some Titans fans, but it's not that bad. I kind of see more Alex Smith if you hit, maybe you end up getting lucky and get a Dak Prescott there. I like a lot of his mentality. The intelligence, I think, is there for Ridder is a big factor. Heard great things about his leadership. But do you want to take him in round 1? He ain't going to be there in round 3 for you. Do you want to spend your first-round pick on a QB who you hope is better than Ryan Tannehill, but you don't know if he's going to be better than Tannehill? It's a bit dicey. So what do you guys think? Should the Titans go draft a QB? Type in a Y for yes or N for no. Sound off for me right now in the comments section. We've got more draft talk here, and oh boy. Chad Reuter of NFL.com, who I will give credit, does a lot of 3- and 4-round mock drafts, and those are really tough to do. He had the Titans trading up in round 1 to take Sam Howell, the 5th QB, off the board, and said, hey, you got to move on from Ryan Tannehill. Go get your franchise guy. 5 QBs, by the way, went top 15, which... Okay, here's what Chad wrote. 3 interceptions. The 3 interceptions that Ryan Tannehill threw in Tennessee's divisional round loss to Cincinnati have to be a constant thorn in the minds of Titans coaches. It won't, therefore, be a surprise if they give up a 2023 first-round pick to grab the team's next starter. Howell has the arm to move the ball vertically, as well as the toughness and improv skills to move the chains on a regular basis. So first things first, I hate it. Thanks, Chad. By the way, I know he does great stuff to get to the 3 or 4 rounds. I know it's very time-intensive. I've never once liked one of his mocks. I don't think they're very good. You can't just say it wouldn't be a surprise when the Titans moving into the top 15 to take Sam Howell and give him a future first would absolutely be a surprise. Like, you can't just say one thing when the opposite is true. That's not how anything works here. Sam Howell's numbers dipped this past year. And in part because, he was missing some of his top playmakers, though he still had at least one good receiver on that roster last year. Moving up for Sam Howell in this draft class and sacrificing 2 first-round picks, I think it's stupid. Like, just to be blunt. Like, that would be a horrible, terrible, no good idea whatsoever for Tennessee. You could sit in round 1 and, I think, get one of those top 5 QBs. So, look, if that's what Tennessee does, fair warning, I will rip them come NFL draft, the actual one. Now, speaking of the draft hats are now on sale at chatsports.com/Titans Draft. I like this next one, by the way, with the 2 different shades of blue plus the cursive script there. These come out every single year. Sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them. But you can get the newest one. This is what the Titans' first-round pick will be wearing on stage at chatsports.com/Titans Draft. That link, by the way, will be in the will be in the comment section and in the description. We've also got some Titans news on recent draft prospects who are visiting. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. The 2 receivers, start with those guys. Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. Sky Moore could be a sneaky late round 1 pick. He played great for Western Michigan. If the Big 5 are off the board, I would not be shocked if Sky Moore was receiver 6 or maybe more off the board. 2 tight ends. You can't take Trey McBride round 1. That's a bad idea. Round 3, I'm all for it with no second-round pick. Jalen Weidermeyer is getting a lot of interest. I think the scouts for most of the NFL had him viewed as, top 75-ish pick. Tanked his pro day. You don't want to take a tight end who ran above 5 seconds in the 40-yard dash. I know 40's not everything. That's fair. The history of tight ends running that slow is not particularly good. So if you take him in round 5, cool. I don't really want to touch him beyond that, or earlier than that, I should say. So I want you guys now to name a player who you think the Tennessee Titans should draft. Hopefully not trading up for Sam Howell, but let me know in the comments section. Folks, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us here at Tennessee Titans Today. We are getting closer and closer to 3,000 subscribers. So join us for free videos leading up to, through, and well beyond this year's NFL Draft. Hit that big red button right now.